everyone, and welcome to this episode of Coffee with Carl. I am your host, as always, Carl Zellner, one of the attorneys here with Anderson Business Advisors. Today, I want to talk a little bit about lending and land trusts. So one of the things that our clients come up with quite a bit is with the use of land trusts, how do we work with lenders? So number one is there are a variety of lenders out there that will work with land trusts. However, it is let's just put it this way, a little bit rarer of a scenario in which you can get a loan done in a land trust. The ones that I've seen that have worked out are ones where you deal with like a local community bank or local community lender, as they tend to have a little bit more flexibility, especially in working with somebody they have an established relationship with. Now, some of the great benefits of a land trust are the anonymity, the ability to assign the beneficial interest without recording it on public record. And quite frankly, those things that are of benefit to us as the individual or the property owner are actually what most lenders would consider a factor in their risk profile and the ability to have that flexibility. So that's part of the reason why you may run into some issues with a lender when you're trying to get a loan for a property in a land trust. The other part is they have a really difficult time. They generally won't just disclose this to you, but they'd have a really difficult time selling that loan on a secondary market when it's in a land trust. So there's a couple of states that recognize land trust as a distinct entity or have some version of asset protection for them. Usually it's only inside liability protection, so it's not a complete version of asset protection. And those states are Illinois and Florida. But what the issue becomes is, like I said, it's for the lender profile, it creates an additional level of risk on the lender's side, even though they're always as secured as they always were. They're still going to file a lien against the property. So if they needed to foreclose, they could. They don't like the idea, though, of you being able to sort of shift the property around or potentially shift the owner behind the scene without them noticing it. So, like I said, for the most part, it's actually, I would say the primary reason is that they have a harder time selling the loan, but that's the reason you tend to run into some issues with lenders in land trust. It's not that there's anything wrong with the land trust. But that same flexibility we like and enjoy, they're not a big fan of because it creates a skew in their risk profile. Now, great news is this. It's a pretty simple solve to get around that, right? Anytime you're working with a lender, you basically need to fit inside of their box and what they consider acceptable risk and lendability. So how do you do that in a land trust if they're not willing to work with a land trust? Simple solution is pull the property out of the land trust, do the refinance or equity line or whatever version of the loan you're going to do, and then give it a couple months, put it back in the land trust, and you're on your way. So, like I said, pretty simple workaround, but a lot of questions behind working with lenders and land trusts tend to revolve around, but why won't they work with them? Like I said, some will, some won't. But it has to do with their risk profile as well as their ability to sell those loans after the loans close. So that's pretty much it. So like I said, keep this one kind of short and simple. As always, please keep taking advantage of all of our free content out there, and I will catch you on the next episode. So thanks, everyone, and we'll catch you on the next episode of Coffee with Carl.